Hello guys, so today we're going to be discussing quadratic functions. So these are functions or equations given in the form y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, or y equals a times x minus p whole squared plus q. So in today's example, we're going to be focusing on this first form of the quadratic equation. So in our example, we are given f of x equals x squared minus x minus 6. So the idea is to find the y and x intercepts and then the turning point in order for us to do a rough sketch of this function. So firstly, I'd like to just point out that looking at this form of the equation and relating it to our given equation here, we have that y is equal to f of x firstly, then a in this case is just 1, so we have a equals 1, and then b here is negative 1, so it's b equals minus 1, and then c in our example is negative 6, so and c equals minus 6, right? And so what we first want to do is find the y-intercept. So to find the y-intercept, what we do is we have y intercept, so we set x to 0. So we set x equals to 0, and that just gives us y equals f of 0. Then everywhere you see an x, you substitute 0. So it's 0 squared minus 0 minus 6, and that equals minus 6. So our y-intercept is at the point 0 and minus 6. This is our y-intercept. Just write this y-int. Right? Now we want to find the x-intercepts. So to find the x-intercepts, what we do is we set the value of y to 0. So we have x intercept so here we set y to 0, then we substitute this to this formula here, this equation here. So how we do that is, where we have in this case f of x, we just write 0 and then we equate it to this. So it's just x squared minus x minus 6 equals 0. Once you have this, we solve for x now. We're trying to find the values of x where y is equal to 0, and that is, we do that by factorizing. So we have x, and then we get 3, 2, put minus 1 here, and then negative times negative is positive. Therefore, x x minus 3 equals 0, or x plus 2 equals 0, right? That gives us x equals 3 or x equals negative 2. So now we have that our x-intercept is at the points 3 and 0 and negative 2 and 0, right? Now that we have these points, we want to find the turning point of our function, of our quadratic function. So to do that, to find the turning point, I'll just call it TP. So TP is given by x equals minus b over 2a, and then the value of y for the turning point is given by y equals f of minus b over 2a, right? So what we're gonna do is, we're not gonna use this explicitly here. We first going to find the value of x, then substitute x into our original equation to find the y value for the turning point. So remember, initially when we started, we said that a equals 1 and b equals minus 2 from our equation here. So that gives us, so I'll just write it as substitute a equals 1 and b equals minus 1 into x equals minus b over 2a. So that just gives us x equals minus b, negative b over 2a, which equals, we're substituting these values, so we have minus 1, substituted negative 1 for b, and then 2 over 1, 2 times 1, 2 times 1, so we substituted 1 for a, and that gives us 1 over 2. Right, now we want to find this value of y. So to do that, we're just going to substitute this value here, half, into the original equation here at the top. Right, so to do that, I'm just going to write substitute x equals 1 over 2 into f of x equals x squared minus x minus 6, and that is f of 1 over 2. So this is y equals f of 1 over 2 equals 1 over 2 squared minus 1 over 2 minus 6, right? And then we have 1 over 4 minus 1 over 2 minus 6 equals 1 over 4. Then you remember, when you add fractions together, you need to find the common factor. So you have to have the common denominator, lowest common denominator, and then to do that we're going to use 4 in this case. So we want our denominator for all these 3 terms to be 4. So to do that in this case, we have 2 over 2 times 1 times 1 over 2 minus 4 over 4 times 6 over 1 equals 1 over 4 minus 2 over 4 minus 24 over 4, which equals negative 25, negative 25 over 4, or just negative 6.25 if you punch this into your calculator. Therefore, our turning point is at x is half and y is negative 6.25. Okay. Now that we've calculated all these 3 points or these 3 pieces, what we're going to do is we're going to try and sketch this function. So to do that, let me just write them again on this page. So we have the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is at 0 and negative 6. Then the x-intercept at minus 2 and 0 and 3 and 0, and the turning point TP is at 1 over 2 minus 6.25. Okay, now to try and sketch this function, we have just move it here. So your sketches might be more accurate than mine if you're using a graphing paper, but the idea here is if you're working with quadratic functions, so we have, this is the function that we're trying to sketch here. F of x equals x squared minus x minus 6, right? Firstly, you look at the sign of a. So we had that a equals 1. So if a is greater than 0, then the shape of our graph is gonna be like this, opening at the top or open, and then if a is less than 0, we're gonna have a graph that's like this, right? So in our case, we have a greater than 0, and then, like I said, like your sketch might be more accurate than mine, but the idea is to just show you the shape. The idea was to just show you how to get these points firstly, like the y-intercept, x-intercepts, and the turning point. And then the important thing also, it's the shape of that of this function. So this is a that we get from here. This a equals 1. So the shape of the graph is gonna look something like this. In our example, it's gonna look something like this, where this is y, this is x, and then we'll say this is 3, this is minus 2, the y-intercept is 6, and then the turning point is just here, 1 over 2 and minus 6.25. And then some of you may have heard like of the axis of symmetry. So this is here, it's this point here at the turning point. This is your axis of symmetry. It's this point here where the graph is divided into two, your midpoint, the midpoint of this function here. Yeah, so that's basically it. So thank you very much for taking the time to watch my videos, and I hope to see you next time. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Bye.